Okay. Whew, this is going to be rusty. Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Trent, but most of you know me as IT Guy, and welcome back to the Blockchain Gaming Podcast. In this episode, I have Dr. WrWilm on the show to talk about the interesting changes in Coin Hunt World in the past couple of months. We're going to catch up on some of the updates since our last chat. We'll go through the Halloween event and the Adventure Pass. And of course, we're going to talk about Coin Hunt Fest. So without any further ado, let's just jump right into it. Will, how you doing today, man?
I'm good. I didn't realize you were going to call me Dr. Will. I may have brought the lab coat back, but yeah, it's been nice. I mean, I'm going to shamelessly plug a few times throughout this. But it's been nice sort of starting up a new podcast with Beats and the crew. For anyone who hasn't seen anything out there in Coin Hunt World sort of social media, there's a group of 7 of us that have started a new podcast called Coin Hunt Crew, or CHC. And a couple of them were very strongly urging me to plug it. And I mean, I'm gonna say something just because it's out there, but yeah, if I mention it a couple times throughout, I apologize if it's too much for some people.
Dude, I have a whole section at the end of the podcast asking you about it, so don't even worry.
Even better.
I've only gone around to watching one episode, and it was the one with you, Rubik's and Beats.
Well,
and
honored.
other than that, I don't know anything about it. Like you guys didn't describe kind of what the whole vibe was during that episode. So I got it felt like a podcast, but I enjoyed it.
That is the goal. Yes.
Yeah. Well, you did good.
Awesome.
All right. So the last episode of the Blockchain Gaming Podcast was September 3rd, which was a little bit over 2 months ago. So I basically had a 2-month break from making podcasts, and truthfully, I also had a 2-month break or 3-month break of like playing Coin Hunt World how I was playing it. You know, I mean,
but it's not like you stopped completely.
No, I mean, if you're super active, you might have saw me on the auction house trying to get a good deal, or collecting my 5 vaults around me, but certainly not doing walking quests. Unfortunately, not being in the Discord, not keeping up with any sort of events other than Coin Hunt Fest, but we'll get into that. So I guess what I want to say, just I kind of have like a little bit of an announcement before jumping into the podcast. I just want to say that, going forward, I used to create content every week. I've took a big fat break, and I'm not going to continue creating content every week. It's going to be kind of random. It's going to be basically when I feel like it and when I want to make a podcast and when the schedule allows it. So
sort of more focused around like the time that things are happening, and like when people who have like done, I don't know, accomplished something in the game, you want to talk to them, that kind of thing.
Absolutely. So I feel like one of the reasons why I burnt out was, trying to pull a guest every week. And, this is your second time on the show, and all the previous people on the show can tell you that, sometimes I'll message people a day before, and like I'm out here stressing. So it relieves a lot of the stress. And, I'm happy that you guys were able to pick up some of the slack, because that gap needed to be filled. So I guess I want to say thank you to you guys. And
on behalf of the crew, thank you.
Yeah. And I just want to make sure that nobody is like fully expecting weekly episodes, because I'm going to leave that to you. You're going to learn how tough that is.
Yeah, no, that's great that you're putting that out there, that like you're setting that expectation, because I know, like, even with what we're starting up, because it's a group of 7 of us, like that was one of the main things, was if we're going to try and do something weekly, we need a bigger group, because the availabilities and sort of keeping on top of not getting burnt out is, I mean, you experienced it firsthand. It's not the easiest thing in the world to keep doing something as consistently as you did for the last year.
Yeah. And you'll learn. But I also found that, to be making a podcast about a game you like, you also have to be like really playing it a lot. And that usually means like you're a high level player, and trying to do all of that with outside stuff as well, it's impossible to find the balance. Well, I feel like we're going to get to that, because I want to talk about, trying to find a balance between playing this game and grinding events and like the burnout is totally real when it comes to this
Oh
game.
yeah.
you
And
know.
I mean, I experienced it over the last couple weeks,
Hmm.
up until, gosh, like I want to say like November 3rd or 4th. I think I only missed I didn't complete all 8 walking goals like maybe 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
hit a point where like everything sort of came all at once. Like there was a shift in what I was responsible for at work. I had a few friends who I only get to see a couple times a year stay over at my place for an entire weekend. And just like my schedule filled up for like a 4 or 5 day period where I was just like, if I commit to keep doing what I was doing, in particular making the time to do the walking goals, like it was going to overload me. So
Yeah.
I just said to myself, it's like, look, you've been doing this for long enough. You've got yourself in a position where like the next couple events, you should be fine in terms of being able to participate. Just take a week. I mean, I still got mystery boxes. I still did a buddy quest, but other than that, it was just sort of bare bones, minimal interaction with Discord, minimal interaction with the game. But yeah, I think everyone at some point is going to hit that wall of just take a step back and replace what your priorities are.
Totally. Totally. So our last episode together was
Oh wow.
on dude, it was a while ago. It was on December 18th of 2021 and in that episode, actually it was the first time we had ever spoken to each other. So
True, actually.
yeah. So when when we look back on that, just that fact alone, it's really unbelievable kind of how far we've come and what Coin Hunt World can do because since that time,
Oh
I
boy.
mean, we've done IRL hunting so many times
Yep.
together, we've done a bunch of shit. So, it's just crazy what it can do to like bring people together. But there were two kind of main reasons why I wanted to have you on the show. Um, Number one was obviously I mean, I talked to you about wanting to do this a long time ago,
Yeah, it's
before
like
the
a month
break,
and a
right?
half. It's like,
Yeah,
and then you disappeared, and I'm like, what's going on, man?
and I sorry for that. I
No,
did.
no.
Yeah,
Hey,
no,
we just covered it. Everyone needs a
yeah,
break.
exactly. So, that was obviously one of the reasons, but this also is another great reason is that you're a coin hunt player who is I'd say fairly knowledgeable about the status of the game and like what's kind of going on. And so as for me, someone who hasn't been up to date as much lately, I'm
Oh
gonna
boy.
be like kind of leaning on you just for
Oh
relevant current
no.
information.
I'll do my best.
Okay.
There's definitely a couple things you're gonna ask me about, like if it was something that happened in the last week or two that I may need to do a little research sort of on the fly, but we'll get there together.
Yeah, yeah, that's perfectly fine. So I guess with all of that being said, all the intro, we're breaking off the rust, kind of, So what's been going on with you lately? I guess what I want to know is since our last chat, there's got to have been some extra accolades you've
There's the
obtained,
word.
right?
He said it, guys. There it is.
Yeah. I had to ask. Well, what are the new accolades you've achieved? Because off the top of my head, and I don't have your wiki page, but I know of a few.
Okay. Hit me.
Um, I want to say the I what I vividly remember is you printing the seal first, which was
Yep.
like super huge. Um, what else was there? Doing the 30-day or yeah, wait, no, the 100-day walking challenge. Was that what it was? You did 100 days of completing walking.
Yeah, I mean it was more than that, but I put a
Yeah.
blog post out when it was 100 days just to sort of like show people that there are definitely hunters out there that are
Hmm.
that committed to doing
Hmm.
them. And I
Yeah.
mean since then I've done it a lot, but I haven't forced myself to do all 8 goals every single day.
Yeah, that's
Cuz
tough.
yeah, the
It's
burnout is real,
impossible.
man.
It's impossible to do. I mean, I'd
Yeah.
love to see someone try to do that for a year.
Yeah, and originally, honestly, the main reason, and I don't even know if this person knows that they had this effect on me, but the main reason that I went for it was I was like 2 or 3 weeks in, and I was on a wiki call with like 5 other people, and K-Hag said, "Oh, there's no way anyone can do this for a solid year," and I'm like, "I will prove you wrong, sir."
Mhm.
And now I realize that that was a stupid thing to think.
Yeah, that's right.
And
That's right.
honestly, it is possible. It is absolutely
Sure.
possible. If you make it a priority in your life, you could do it.
Mhm.
But I strongly urge every single person to take a break at some point, because that's
For
a
sure.
lot to try and manage.
Yeah, for sure. And so I'm obviously missing a few. I don't know
The other
if
big one
yep.
is third place in February global.
Okay. Oh yeah, you made a
Yeah,
leaderboard push. Okay,
yeah.
yes.
February was, I mean, Zach printed the architect, which basically
Tough.
guaranteed him that top spot.
Hmm.
Otherwise, I would have been in a proud second place. But third place global, first in Canada,
Yeah,
was
right
the
on.
other thing that I'm pretty proud to say I've done.
Yeah, and in general, the amount of leaderboard spots you've climbed since our last talk,
Oh
you
yeah,
know, like it's absurd. It might be like the most improved player.
I mean, there's definitely a couple people that I've sort of rise through the ranks with. Like, I've
Hmm.
sort of referenced when they pass someone on the global leaderboard, how far or how long it takes me to also pass that person.
Hmm.
And I mean, I've messaged people just straight up. It's like, hey, like what are you doing right now in terms of playing to pass these people? And I've
Yeah.
tried to reach out to a couple people that I see rising at the same time as me.
Hmm.
Although, again, over the last week, the break I've taken, I'm actually kind of surprised I haven't slipped down a couple spots, because I figured there'd be a couple people right on my tail who are doing walking every single day. Although,
Hmm.
when you look outside right now, up here in Ontario versus all you folks in the States, it's snowing. So
I
a
haven't
whole
gotten
bunch of us
snow
are going to
yet.
slow right down.
I haven't gotten snow yet, but dude, winter hunting is it's so hard. It's just I don't
It's
know
going to,
how else to say
yeah,
it.
it's going
It's
to
just so
take a
much
lot more
harder
effort.
because you got to wear 10 pounds of extra gear, right? You have to wipe your phone screen down. Like that's a whole ordeal. Getting your phone screen wet is ridiculous. Like
I honestly just put a plastic bag over it. Like, I've got a plastic bag that I've used for like months now, and it's like it's thick enough that it hasn't like torn at all,
Mhm,
because like
mhm.
obviously you're causing friction on it over and over and over. So it's thick enough that it doesn't tear, but it's also thin enough that it registers my finger on the screen, which
Right.
sometimes is an issue even though it gets wet, because like, where you're pressing on the screen, if there's a bunch of water even on the bag, it's still going to register like
Yeah.
more than one press, which
Uh-huh.
is slightly inconvenient. And so
Mhm.
I've been getting a few more grates than I would like. But at the same time, like, it means, as far as I can tell, it's going to make my phone last longer if it's not
Definitely.
constantly getting wet.
Yeah. So yeah, we got to deal with that. Um, obvious. I mean, you were really big into well when we first did our chat. You created the highlights channel. That's might have taken a little bit of a back seat, but um,
Yeah.
is there any developments there? Just
No, I
curious.
so
Okay.
it's tough.
Yeah.
There's a couple main reasons that
You got a lot going on, man.
yeah,
A
I
lot.
so if anyone's looking at timestamps for stuff, like, since walking came out, the only thing I've done on that channel, as far as I can remember, is the Hunter's Lodge, like adding on the Q&A to the end of it and publishing it. Other than
Okay.
that, it's sort of been the amount of time that it would take for me to do something like that has just been outweighed by like life stuff.
Yeah. Oh,
But
for
also
sure.
like some of that time has transferred into playing the game, like
Yeah.
getting all the walking quests done. I mean, everyone knows that some people it's still taking 3+ hours. I'm one of the lucky ones that it's down closer to two, sometimes 2.5 if the weather's bad, and like all the sort of perfect storm of inconvenience. But in terms of why I haven't really got it back up and running, is I just feel like until the developers of the game are going to start pushing it to more people, I I don't feel like I want to start like pushing it to people.
Hmm.
Like, I
Hmm.
sort of saw the channel as a way for people who are looking to get into the game to see different sides of like how different content creators are displaying what they do in game. And at the time, there were like 4 or 5 different people who would
Yeah.
stream at least like once a week or so.
Mhm.
Now it feels like there's only a couple, and some of those content creators don't like put all of their effort into Coin Hunt World. It's sort
Yeah.
of part of their content.
Mhm.
So it's hard for me to sort of have the same resilience to keep on going with that content if others, like, because I'm not creating any of it, right? Like I'm just
Mhm.
sort of curating it so that people can
That's right.
see some of it from different people, some of it from different creators.
Mhm.
So if there isn't as much out there, it's hard for me to sort of like pick and choose who to focus on. And I mean, again, if the developers aren't going to put time into sort of advertising it, and like that's no, they say it's
Yeah.
not ready, and that's no fault of theirs. I'm not saying that they should be doing that yet, but at the same time, I don't want to jump on that bandwagon of pushing it to other people until it's sort of what I guess you could call ready.
Yeah, I agree. But just to touch on the point you said of
Yeah.
doing that, the Hunter's Lodge, I think that was a great thing. I think it got a shit ton of views too. Um, I would love if you did that again for the next one coming up, because it's so they post one and it's so long and dragged
Yeah.
out, and then you just come in and snip it up into 28 minutes, and I'm like,
Yeah. No, so
exactly what I.
okay. The reason that it is as short as it is, I
Mm,
actually take so much time trying to cut out every single little like second of dead space, because if I get it down to under half an hour, it's I can there's certain programs online that I can use for free to
mhm.
do subtitles. But
Oh,
they're all the free trials and stuff are for things that are half an hour or shorter.
hmm.
So I cut down the first half into something that is ideally less than half an hour, and then the Q&A I do the same thing, and then I mash them together.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, if I'm basically anybody who's listening to this has definitely seen your videos, so
Oh,
I think we're
that
all hopeful to see another one, because the next Hunter Lodge is coming up. What is it? November
it's like
24th?
8 days from now. It's
Oh,
just over a week. It's next Sunday.
yeah. So I'll be tuning into that. I've never really, I hope this Hunter's Lodge is a little bit different from promising hunters a bunch of shit that's not happening within the next 4 years. I hope it's they start focusing on what can be done and what is going to be happening. So we'll see. I mean, it always generates a huge amount of buzz and hype. So
Definitely.
maybe that's their goal. But I'll be looking for your your highlight video on
It
that.
it definitely is not going to be, the turnaround time on it is not going to be as fast as the past
Don't
ones.
worry. Yeah.
The last No, I just want to put that out for anyone else that may have some sort of expectation or
Yeah.
like likes the fact that it's usually fast, because the last two I've had
Oh.
up with I've worked with Bearded Ant Hunter,
Hmm.
one of the mods, who is also I think he's the like head mod of the Latin America server, Discord
Hmm.
server. So I've worked with him to do Spanish subtitles as well, and I feel horrible that he puts it on himself to have them done as quickly as he does.
Right.
And I very much appreciate the work that he's done. It's
Hmm.
like there's no way I could do what he does at all,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I don't speak Spanish. I have no experience with that whatsoever. But in terms of having it out, I would expect hopefully within a week. I do plan to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the Hunter's Lodge is on a Sunday, so I mean, I'll definitely make sure that it is done, but I hope within a week, and we'll see from there. It's the
Yeah.
same thing I said when I mentioned that you were gonna put out another episode on, like when I was talking with the guys on Coin Hunt Crew. It's
Hmm.
like, yeah, Trent has asked me to be on his podcast again, but just like this doesn't mean he's starting to do
Yeah.
weekly episodes again. Everyone
Right.
calm down.
And I like how you said no pressure on getting it out that week. What I'm gonna plan on doing right now, it's Saturday night.
Yep.
Um, and because I'm kind of taking a little bit of a backseat on the podcast thing, I'm gonna try setting up Anchor, and so you'll probably be listening to this through Anchor, so I don't have to pay for a podcasting service
That's
anymore.
awesome.
And I'm gonna do a little bit of editing, because I saw
Oh,
your guys' editing, and now I'm like, I gotta do something.
yeah.
So
I
I'm
mean,
happy you said that, but it should be out relatively soon. You should be hearing
okay.
it pretty soon. Yeah.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
said you're gonna ask about Coin Hunt Crew later, right?
Yeah. We
Okay,
got it.
I'll
Yeah.
leave anything. I'll leave details for that later then.
Yeah. Good. Okay. Final like intro question here. Just want to. I'm just kind of getting all the touch ups here.
Yeah.
With the wiki stuff, you're obviously very in tune with what's going on there. How's it going over there? What's the wiki up to?
It's definitely slowed down. I think a
Hmm.
lot of like let's say 8-9 months ago, I think a lot of what was happening with the wiki was sort of playing catch up with everything that had happened in game. So I mean, obviously Marlov started it, and then Kevin and a few others joined to sort of create a small core team that like worked on a bunch of things.
Mhm.
But then as like, I guess you could say every time there was a hunter's lodge and it's like, hey, here's like 20 new things that you have to
Yeah.
take into consideration. A bunch of them are going to need new wiki pages and all this. Like, there was a pile of crap that we just didn't have the resources to take care of
Yeah.
instantly. And I mean, there's definitely still a team behind everything, but it feels like we've sort of, to a certain extent, both caught up, but also created a way that certain things on the wiki, if they're updated on the back end, they update in like several different places.
Right.
So we
Yeah.
don't have to worry about like, oh, let's say for instance, the resources for a Halloween QB changed for whatever reason. It's like we
Because
can
that
just go
happens.
exactly. But like we don't need to worry about going to every single instance of where that is on the wiki. We just change it
Mhm.
like in one spot and then
Right.
it gets updated in
Oh,
multiple.
good.
So with those sort of things set up, it's made a lot of the maintenance in terms of like if there are changes, if there
Mhm.
are little details like that, it's a lot easier to fix them up real quick.
Yeah.
Um, but I also like, I mean, over the past couple weeks, I actually literally just left the wiki server for a few days as
Yeah.
part of my break. I
Yeah.
just like, there was too much going on in my life and
Mhm.
I couldn't handle thinking about all of it at once. So I think I left for like 5 days and it's just like, I can't, I'm someone who sees the little dot on Discord, and if there's a message there, I have to see what it is.
Yeah, I
So
agree. Yeah.
if I need a break from a server, like I've muted a bunch of channels in a few of the servers I'm in, but the wiki server, because I'm part of like the core team that helps take care of stuff,
Mhm.
I have to leave a bunch of them unmuted. And
Right.
so I get the little dot and I gotta
Yeah.
see what the little dot means.
Of
So
course. Yeah.
it drove me nuts and I'm like, no, I need for like 4 or 5 days, it just out of my mind.
Hmm. Well,
So
that's a good transition because I want to like move into like how to find that balance. Really,
oh, it's
um,
tough.
it's dude, it's really tough, and especially if you're like in there in the moment. I mean, okay, so here's the question I want to find. So it's important to take breaks. I've said this, you know, from since the beginning, and I've taken breaks. I haven't taken quite the break, like I just did. But weeks off are totally fine. I've done months off, but still did podcasts as well. But it's so my question to you is, how do you find how's a good way to find the balance between, because here's where the problem is. It's when you grind an event, right?
Yep.
And then you're also trying to keep up on the leaderboards afterwards, or you're just trying to play the game the same amount, or you're trying to like stack a bunch of crypto. So it's all coin hunt world 24/7. So how do you find the balance that it takes to, grind all the events and then next month continue playing or do a leaderboard push, or, complete all 8 walking quests? I want to know, because I can't do it. I simply can't
It's
do it. It's all or nothing, right?
so I think I was in the advantageous position of when walking came out, I was more both willing and able to take advantage of getting every key I possibly could from it.
Yeah.
I know some people don't have the time, some people don't have like either, let's say for instance someone has like back issues and like walking for more than like 2 or 3 kilometers in a day is just too much for them.
Hmm.
Like I, again, very privileged, advantageous position where I can both do it and want to do it.
Hmm.
I also thought, based on the fact that they sort of very minorly nerfed the first, was it 3 or 4 by like one key,
Right.
like a couple weeks after it came out. Like
Forgot
I
about
was
that.
thinking, if by some chance they're gonna like months
Nuke
down
it.
the road cut this in
Yeah.
half, like I want to take advantage of getting every key I possibly can from it. So over like the months that I was doing all the walking, I also barely forged any of them. So I have a bank of blue keys that I just sort of sit on for as long as possible. And in my mind, that takes away a lot of the stress of needing to prep for events,
Right.
because I just have a key bank that it's like, okay, I'm good for a while. And until that sort of either runs out or depletes to a certain level where I'm not comfortable with it going into events, I don't have to think about it. Now, if you're not in that position, my best recommendation is get out and walk as much as you can or
Right.
are like want to. But also once you're like as you're doing that, also try and figure out what you want to get out of the game. Cuz like I definitely know I've seen people talking and I've talked to people who are like I want this to happen, like X to happen. And I know that for X to happen, I need, let's say, 3,500 keys, whether that be all blues, whether that be a combination of things. And they'll sort of like backtrack. I want X to happen in a month and a half. What do I need to do to get that? And then just try and figure out what steps you can take and like reach out to players on Discord if you have like if you think, oh, I'm going to be like 100 keys short, like what can I do in the interim between now and a month and a half from now to get that going?
Right.
And I mean,
So do you think it's about setting those like reasonably attainable goals
I think that's the
and then
main
keeping
way
it?
you can get around it.
Okay.
There's definitely a couple people I've seen sort of like talking through their plans, not necessarily trying to get feedback on them, but just sort of like so that if there's an error, then someone can point it out. It's like, oh, well, like, no, you're not going to get such and such for selling a Veriblock QB anymore.
Right.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's all about sort of setting realistic goals and taking into account what you think you're going to get between now and the time you want that to be accomplished.
Right. Right. Yeah. Do you ever find yourself slowing down after like a head? Okay, let me do two questions here. When an event comes out, do you do that event hard?
So I've discussed this with a couple of people as well. This came up at a few different meetings during the Halloween event because I went to a couple meetups. What I've found over the last few events is, and I mean this may change, this very easily could change, but play the first 4 to 6 hours really, really hard. Because if there's something that's wrong with the drop rates, that's when it's going to happen.
Okay.
So if you played the first 4 to 6 hours of the Halloween event, for instance, you were getting bones from blue vaults that you weren't supposed to be getting. I think it was only sets. I think it was only drops of 5 or something.
Okay. I think I got one of those actually.
Yeah. Yeah. So you were getting bones from blue vaults, as limited as they may be. So for 4 to 6 hours, day one. After that, unless you are making a leaderboard push, if it's, let's say, a week-long event, I'm taking the next 3.5 days super casual. Like, it's not like I won't play, but it's not, I don't feel like I need to go very hard or anything to be able to finish the event. And then, assuming that drop rates have slowly started to increase throughout the event as people make progress, then the last 2 or 3 days, you can go hard and you can get the higher drop rates and the best value for your keys.
Right. Okay. So then the follow-up question there is, after an event, do you find yourself slowing down, like as far as like playing the game? Okay. Yeah. So I think that's universal for most players, but and that's the trigger, I think, where you either burn out or you like coast through it, right? Like after an event, you can either just be like, okay, that's it, I'm not going outside for another week, or you can be like, okay, time to slow down Coin Hunt World and just do your loop or whatever. And I think that's an important distinction to make. But I think everybody slows down after an event. They must see that on the numbers on the back end.
Yeah, and I mean,
goes way down.
What was the first thing? Before system vaults went down to 2 cents, and then 333 was introduced. I'm pretty sure one of the main reasons that was initiated, and I mean, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure publicly the main reason that they stated was they were like too much crypto was being earned from purely events because you were getting crypto and resources from every vault.
Yeah, there was an incentive to hit
just
more
go
vaults.
Stupidly hard during events.
Yeah. I mean, it was like open 1,500 vaults. And they're like, whoa, people did it.
Yeah, like Hawaii was saying they were surprised that so many people opened the 1,200 that were required. It's like, I mean, you set a goal for us. The
Mhm.
hardcore hunters are definitely going to do it, and then there's going to be those some people who have the resources and now have a specific goal that's in game. It's like, well, I mean, I can give it a shot.
That's right. So, I, yeah, I mean, the balance between events and then playing the game, just regularly is incredibly hard to find. So, if you're listening to this and you found that answer, you need to share it, I think, with everybody because, I know many people, like, there's so many people now who are burning out, and I don't want to like put blame on, the system vault change or, the 333 change, even though those are contributing factors for sure, or the Air QB event, RIP. Um, all of those are contributing factors to burnout, but I think that it really depends on how you were playing the game in the first place, right?
Yeah, I don't know if the three things you just listed, I'm not sure that necessarily attributed or goes towards burnout.
Hmm.
Maybe like psychologically, if you're thinking about like all of the negativity that's brought into the public eye based on those events. But I mean, if anything, those things would make you play or could make you play less.
Hmm.
And that, I mean, hopefully that would solve your burnout because you're not
Yeah.
playing as much. Um, but yeah, if anyone out there has figured out the secret, please contact Trent. He would
Yes.
like to have a
Exactly.
word with you.
Yeah, yes, and I know a few other people who also would like to know that information. So, what would it take to like wear you out from the game? What's one thing that can guarantee to burn you out?
I was actually thinking about this as I did
Hmm.
the walking quest today. Um, I I genuinely don't know if I would keep playing if the game didn't give crypto at all. Like if they took crypto out, um,
That'll do it.
I would have to. I think I would stop playing. I
Right.
don't know for sure, just because I do have a lot of time invested in the game. I have met some amazing people like yourself
Hmm.
through playing the game, and the communities that I've found myself being a part of, and the people I'm talking to on a regular basis, I really like those individuals.
Hmm.
So it would definitely be hard for me to stop, but I think that would be sort of a very very heavy cross to bear,
Yeah.
if that were to occur. Other than
Okay.
that, I haven't really
Yeah.
thought about it, so
Yeah.
I would
It's
need
a
to get
tough
back to you.
question. It is a tough question. So I'm gonna do like a little rapid fire here for you. I have four
Yeah.
scenarios, and
Oh
I
boy.
want you to tell me how much it would cause you to slow down afterwards. If
Okay.
you could quantify it. So like I'd say, it would cause me to slow down for a week, or like it would cause me to slow down for a month. And then, if you can, your reason why or whatever. Okay. So the first one is a full event. So you from a 10-day event, we'll say an anniversary event, 10-day event from day 1 to day 10, you're doing, let's say, top hunter numbers, you're doing 6 hours a day hunting, and that's not even like super top hunter level either.
Okay.
but let's say that. What happens after that for you?
Um. So I mean, I'll slightly cop out on my answer, saying
Mhm.
depends on what time of the month the event is. Because if it's a 10-day event at the beginning of the month and I go super super hard and I am like top 5 global at the end of that event, I would likely carry through that into a leaderboard push.
Okay,
And
that's a fine answer. I like that
okay.
answer. Here's the next scenario: a leaderboard push.
Oh god. Well, so as we said earlier, I came third global in February.
Hmm.
I was sick for the 2 weeks immediately following that.
And was that like
I
a?
think that was heavily due to the last few days of
Hmm.
the leaderboard push where like everything that was going through me, I was fueled almost purely by adrenaline. And
Hmm.
it was just like I have to finish the month strong. Thank goodness it was only a 28-day month. I
Hmm.
didn't have to worry about going 31 days. But like literally I remember the feeling of sitting and just seeing the clock flip over at the end of the month,
Hmm. Hmm.
and there was a physical response that my body had, and then I went to work the next day. I had like a tiny bit of a cough. I went home early, and then I was out. I think I got COVID like 2 days later. I don't know if that was like in combination with getting sick, but I was definitely already getting sick.
Mm-hmm.
And I literally was out for 2 full weeks, with like 5 or 6 of those days being completely bedridden, like not having the strength to really stand up except for like getting to the bathroom and whatnot. So after leaderboard push, I don't understand the people who do multiple leaderboard rush or
Like
pushes
2 months in a row.
Yeah, I don't know.
And I can be fair here and say that it was doable in the past. It was doable when you could
Yes.
drive and pick up keys and do that, because it wasn't so like it wasn't so much exertion on your body physically. Like
Yeah, because
now
you
to
didn't
do
have to walk.
right. So you can do leaderboard pushes when you do a leaderboard push, you do have to do all 8 walking quests for a month. And so this is this is
Sorry,
more
I'm
of
gonna
a
cut you off.
yeah,
Not 100%.
right.
You can
Okay, that's
miss a
fair.
couple,
Yep.
but generally, if you do miss a couple, you better have a couple referrals.
Yeah, or epic prints.
Yes,
I'm not sure.
I would say you have to have a lot of epic prints.
How many's a lot? Because I got a few brewing.
Oh, I'm just saying in terms of replacing missing goal 8.
Right.
I would say
Okay.
for every day that you miss goal 8, you should probably have at least a rare, if not an epic print.
Right.
To keep your spot for sure.
And
Sorry
so
to cut you
this
off,
is
though.
no, that's okay. And this is a unique question to you, because I
boy.
feel like I don't know a lot of people who were able to, basically do all 8 walking quests for the amount of time that you've done it. So I was gonna ask for a month, but that's kind of the same as a leaderboard push. So let's say 2 months of walking quests. 60 days. Actually, no, let's do 3 months, 90 days of walking quests. And so that wasn't enough to burn you out. But at that point, at 90 days, at 3 months, you must have been feeling it, right? You must have
Yes.
been wanting to stop.
Yeah, no, I mean, in the blog post I wrote about it, and if anyone wants to read it, it's on the Coin Hunt World Wiki.
And we'll throw it in the description here.
Yeah. But in terms of things that happened, like I think it was maybe, I don't even know if it was half a month in, maybe a month in, I had like really, really bad shin splints.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to start cutting up the walking into like 3 or 4 different sessions of going out and accomplishing some of it.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of like, I don't necessarily think that 90 days of walking would burn me out from wanting to play the game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure it would others, but
Mm-hmm.
in terms of getting out and like having that not constant, but consistent exercise every day, like
Also
I just
nice.
thought I saw that as just a healthy habit I was forming.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it actually felt weird.
I mean,
over the last week, it felt weird not doing it.
Fair. Okay, so that was a special case for you. I mean, if I asked someone else, they'd be like, I'm never playing again.
Yeah, no, there's definitely people out there that would try and last for as long as possible, and as soon as they missed a day, they're like, oh, streak's broken, I'm done.
Yeah. So, this exercise was basically to just confirm that, there are multiple ways that this game can burn you out. And you definitely got to be careful of what you're doing and how hard you're going. I'd say. And man, there's some people who can do it and not get burnt out. And they're on the top of the leaderboards for a reason, but also it's like, wow, you once you get really burnt out more than once or twice, you start really starts like getting into your perspective about how hard and how tough it is to actually do.
Yeah, I think if you have an opportunity, or if anyone that has a public way of asking, if you can ask Makiki Tiki what it's like, because I'm pretty sure that he does the walking quests every single day.
That's
He
right.
may have missed 1 or 2, not 100% sure, but he's top of the global leaderboard now, and that that's a major contributing factor.
By the way, that's a big change that I wasn't really. I just logged into Coin Hunt World one day, checked the leaderboards, and saw Makiki Tiki out there. It's well deserved for him. That's pretty impressive. Taking Block Boy. That might be the first time Block Boy has never been top 1, at least since I've been playing. right?
Yeah, I mean, since he got the position, I don't know if anyone's been able to pass him.
That's right. Yeah. And
So, big
wow,
accomplishment.
huge accomplishment. Yeah. Okay. So here's another just a little side question here.
Yeah.
Have you ever been so wiped from the game? And this is super sacrilege when it comes to Coin Hunt World.
Okay.
Have you ever been so super wiped from the game that a buddy quest comes up and then you got to be like, you know what? I'm just gonna destroy my HQ. I
Oh,
can't
wow.
do this. I can't do it. I know I
No.
can't do it. You've never done that?
I've never even thought about doing that. There has been, I think, 1 or 2 buddy quests where I will see it come up, like I'll see the notification in game, and I ignore it for about maybe almost 24 hours, and I'll assume that if the other person wants to get in touch and it's important enough that they want it done in the first 24 hours, that they'll get in touch with me.
Right.
So I've sort of left it for almost, if not a full day, a couple times. I think the only time it's taken me longer than 72 hours to finish one is with Antrev during the first week of February when I was going hard
you
for
needed
Chinese
them.
New Year.
Oh, and you
And
needed them.
like, well, it was like half. It literally kept going back and forth. Like I was busy, then he was busy, and we got it done on day 6.
Oh, okay.
So we were cutting it close, but I think that's the only time I've taken longer than 72 hours. And usually if it gets to the 3rd day, it's because someone was gone for a weekend or something.
Yeah. Okay. So then I'll take this time to publicly apologize to somebody who I honestly I just couldn't pull myself to go and do this. I did have some other engagements going on at the time. And I thought maybe I would do it. But I just have so much respect for someone who is like playing this game hard, and I would like it if if I got a buddy quest with someone and they immediately told me, you know, I'm just gonna just destroy, let you get a new one, because you do get a new one pretty damn fast. So I'm gonna publicly apologize to the Brizzle because
No.
I had to. It was like, dude, it was bad. I was like just not in the mood to do any of that, and I had to do something else at the time. I remember, but I was just like, you know, I'm just gonna save face, and I was like, I'll destroy. I'm so sorry, and that was it. So Brizzle, I'm sorry. That once we get the buddy quest again, I'll get it going. But that was the first time ever I've had to do that, and it was because of burnout.
Trent, I don't mean to throw you under the bus here, and I mean I'm totally doing that. I'm fully aware. That's the buddy quest I had while I had friends over for the weekend, and I still made it work. So that's why I laughed when you said who it was.
Yeah, I had to. Wow. Yeah. So and you know what? And that was probably a month ago, and it's still eating at me. So I'm glad I got it off my chest.
No, I mean, if you can publicly apologize, hopefully she forgives you for that.
Yeah.
But
hopefully.
also, if you straight up say to someone that that's what's happening, at least there's like a slight justification.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of them wondering, like they see the buddy quest and then instantly, like a few minutes later, it's like, well, where'd it go? I like what?
Oh no, I told her I was gonna destroy him. And I did it relatively quickly, and I do feel bad because, like I said, that's something you don't do in this game.
Yeah, I will say, for anyone out there who is experiencing burnout and you don't want to have to deal with the feelings that Trent is experiencing, there is an option in the settings menu to turn off buddy quests, and I strongly urge you to like both turn, if you plan on doing buddy quests in the future, turn the setting off, go into your calendar on your phone and set a reminder for like 2 weeks or 3 weeks from now saying turn it back on so you don't forget forever.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
that
would have been a good call. I was just, and you know what? Even the buddy quest before that, I forget who it was, but I was like, I should really turn this off.
And you didn't think to do it after?
No, after the buddy quest, I was like, I can't be.
Oh,
so, yeah, so that happened over the 3-month hiatus. I gotta admit.
Nice.
Okay, I'm gonna get off all of the sad topics now.
Okay.
We've talked about.
So what's the happy topic we're moving on to?
The happy topic is what would bring you back into the game. So if you are experiencing burnout, such as myself, so by the way, I'm back, baby. I'm back. And there's a reason why, but before we get to that, I want to know what would it take for you to come back to the game with a whole new outlook, a whole new energy, and yeah, what would it take?
It would so like assuming that I had sort of like put the game on the back burner in my life and barely opened it. I think a Hunter's Lodge that was filled with information that was actually happening in the following
Hmm.
month and a half,
Yep.
and then seeing it come to fruition in that month and a half would absolutely draw me fully back in.
Yeah.
You do not understand. I don't know if I mentioned this in the other podcast. You do not understand how long and how much I've been waiting for tagging. My
I
nickname
don't think you
in
mentioned that. Yeah.
my nickname in the wiki server is when tagging question mark.
Wow. Yeah.
It's the only thing I think about in terms of the future of the game right now. And I mean, if they're gonna put it on lodges saying, oh, okay, we're gonna have it in May, and then I think it was September, and now they're saying the last talk of it was November, I have to assume that they will touch on it. I really hope it's the big change that like there was the auction house, then there was walking. This should, in my mind, be the
This should
next
take priority.
major logical step.
It should take
I
priority.
hope to God that on Sunday, that is the thing that they focus on,
Yeah.
assuming that they can make it happen.
Yeah. Agreed. So you would agree that to bring you back into the game, you'd need a big drastic update,
Yes.
right? And a fun big drastic update. So
Yeah. Honestly, even if it's bugged, as long
yeah.
as they put it out there and they get feedback, and over the next month and a half, they make it better, which, as far as I can tell, is what they're doing with Adventure Road.
Dude, usually if
Um,
it's bugged, it's better.
Sometimes. Depending on what we're talking about,
That's
sometimes.
true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So that's exactly what happened to me. What got my toes back into the game was the Halloween event.
Okay.
So I this is a good transition. We'll get into the Halloween event. I dipped my toes in there and I was having fun. So I was having fun. I was doing the quest chain, playing very casually, mind you, like probably 30 vaults a day, getting some resources. I got a few bones, hit a few cauldrons, just playing like a noob. I felt like the first time I found an event, I wasn't going super hard. I was just playing casually. And I realized I had a lot of fun. And then they mixed that with the adventure road, which got me back onto the game every day. And then
Yeah.
Coin Hunt Fest unleashed my excitement. So in that order, we'll talk about it.
Sure. Yeah.
Halloween event first. Now all of the stuff, all the like the recap is now out. I don't think you had that on the Coin Hunt Crew podcast.
No, we
But
did not.
before we get to all the stats and stuff, I don't even really think that's super relevant. But I just want to know, how was the Halloween event for you? So
So this works out perfectly, you asking
yeah.
me this, because
Mm,
Beats asked both myself and Rubik's on Coin Hunt Crew, and
mhm.
Rubik's answered, and then we moved on.
Yeah.
So I didn't realize that I hadn't answered it until I looked back at what we had covered. So this works out perfectly.
Yeah, there was a
Um,
few things where that happened. I was like, yes, Will didn't answer. Now I could ask.
Wonderful. I'm glad you caught that too.
Yeah.
But yeah, Halloween was, I mean, I already sort of explained what I did with it. I went really hard for the first couple days, or first few hours. And then once I realized that they were going to make some slight changes, I just sort of backed off. And like,
Yeah.
it's not that I wouldn't spawn cauldrons or anything, but I was more so um, just paying attention to my local Discord and making sure that any questions that anyone had were just answered. I was the one who created my local Discord, so like I'm the mod
Mhm.
there. I made sure a channel was created specifically for cauldron spawns.
Yep.
People were posting very simply just like street intersection, time of spawn, and type of cauldron. And I mean there were
That's
definitely
efficient.
players definitely local player. Yeah, they were great, but there were local players that were definitely going harder than I was. In terms
Okay,
of
sorry, just
spawning
just to
stuff.
stop you,
Yep.
because in our last episode you were talking about the London Discord and how you created that, but you were also saying how there weren't a ton of people in it, like
Yeah,
not a lot of active people. Has that grown?
Yes.
Okay.
I
I
wouldn't
think
like
I
if
need that.
someone were to join our Discord server right now, they would not see people typing.
Right.
Very rarely do people say much other than like the casual question of,
Yeah.
hey, I noticed there's a dozer somewhere,
Yeah.
or
Oh yeah.
I mean, during the event, it was a lot of questions about like certain mechanics of things, or like what needs to happen for me to progress to such and such a step. So I was in there answering questions, making sure people had any information they needed, and then I also organized a local meetup that I
Yep.
think there were 8, maybe 9 of us. No,
And
it
that's
was 8
in
because we
London,
all.
right? Or in
Yes.
your okay.
Yeah, London,
Oh,
Ontario, for those of you in the UK.
not many, not many. Oh,
Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, it's total side tangent, but I wanted to say that during the hiatus, I also saw, people were still watching my content. So I want to say thank you for the people who
Well, that's awesome.
were. Yeah, it wasn't a lot, but it was more than I expected without putting out any content. So for the people who were doing that, thank you. It wasn't any UK people, so I have those
Savage,
metrics.
calling them out.
Anyway, sorry. Yeah, so the Halloween event, and in your local Discord, yeah.
Yeah, so the local Discord came together. Like, I mean, basically anyone who had talked within like the last few months. I don't even think I had to add everyone. I just sort of said like, hey, who's interested? Like in the channel with the cauldrons, hey, who's interested in meeting up? We'll do it on. I gave I think 2 options, and then everyone was eager for one of them. I was like, okay, perfect.
Yeah.
So we met up. I spawned an epic, and everyone else spawned a common, which I mean, that was fine.
That's
I
beauty.
gave a bunch
Yeah.
of people the opportunity to see the epic, and I think 2 of them got the blueprint out of it, the skeleton.
Okay.
And then
Sorry, when you're describing this,
yeah,
I need full details because,
oh
dude, I got totally to the red key and then stopped playing and I spawned only common cauldron, so I didn't know about any of the mechanics. So when you say they got the blueprint, I know that there was
yes.
2 blueprints. So yeah,
So in
understood.
terms of the
Talk to me
Halloween
like I'm a
event,
noob.
oh boy, okay. So Halloween event, there was a new common blueprint, which was the zombie,
Got
which
that.
you could get from like you could
Comic book.
spawn common cauldrons wearing any QB.
How was I supposed to know that? Tell me how I was supposed to know that without going in the Discord.
I don't know. I don't even remember if there was a Medium article at the beginning of the event or not.
There was a Medium article at the beginning of the event. It had no mention of how to spawn the cauldrons.
Okay.
Dude, I was so lost.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. And again, moving forward for the rest of my description of this event, there could be details that are slightly off, or I don't think anything I say will be completely wrong, but it might have slight nuance to it, or I don't have all the details. But
okay,
nonetheless, I'm fairly certain you could spawn a common cauldron wearing any QB.
Okay.
I think as a community, we were fairly convinced that to spawn a rare cauldron, you had to have gotten the zombie and be wearing the zombie, which may or may not have changed slightly through the event to any rare Halloween QB.
Okay.
Or sorry, any Halloween QB at all.
Okay.
Again, without IW or someone on the dev team confirming these things, I think it's all sort of speculation and sort of people working off other people's stories of how they spawn certain things.
Yeah.
And then the epic cauldron, I spawned mine wearing the black hat. Okay. And that's all I really know.
Okay.
I wasn't trying to pay attention to see like if other people had rituals of like you had to have all the first 6 walking quests done and then you had to
and
be
3
walking
spins
backwards down the street.
Yeah.
I just sort of like I had my black hat and I wore it for most of the event, apart from when you needed to have the other QBs to move through the quest.
Right. Yep.
What else would you like to know, newbie player?
Well, yeah. So did you finish the quest line?
I did.
Okay, yeah. And here's a super noob question. What'd you get?
Oh, shoot. I don't know where I wrote it down.
Okay.
I think I typed it quickly into the Discord just because other people were reporting at the same time. It wasn't great. I mean, it wasn't as bad as some people.
Hmm.
But it wasn't something you'd write home about.
Okay. I'm also talking about like seriously, what did you get in the quest line? Because I only got up to the red key. I know that you could get the ectoplasm, that resource. Um, I'm talking about more about the
I'm definitely not looking the event up on the wiki right now.
no
I don't
worries,
know what you're
and
talking about.
I'll drag out this speech here. I want to know what the blueprint was for like the house blueprint.
Oh,
If
the
you,
HQ blueprint.
yes, that would be nice to know
Um,
because and you must have got that obviously for finishing.
yeah. So I mean, to be completely honest, I haven't upgraded my HQ to level 5 yet. Um,
Wow, look at that.
yeah, kind of crazy, right?
That is a
I
little
I don't have a really good reason for it either. I just haven't bothered to do it yet.
okay.
Um,
Yeah, there's
the
no good
H
reason to do it.
fair enough.
Hmm.
At least at the current moment.
Yep.
The HQ blueprint is like a haunted mansion almost.
Oh. Okay.
I don't know how to. It's got like a graveyard outside.
Oh, okay. Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. Oh,
I
it's
forget
coming
what
back
it's
to me.
named, to be completely honest.
I think I bid
Um,
on that.
it definitely looks really cool though.
Oh, does it? Don't say that
Yeah,
because I'm
I'm
not
sorry.
don't have a ton of keys, but I've been trying to purchase all the stuff that I missed. So, just to backtrack a little bit, I tried buying all the blueprints from the anniversary event because I wasn't playing, and then I tried to buy all the blueprints from the Halloween event, but obviously that's also hard as well. So did you end up getting the Ghost QB blueprint? That and tell me how you got it.
Okay. I did get it.
Okay.
So in terms of my experience with cauldrons throughout the event, I hit a bunch of commons and rares sort of in town. But I had to, other than the one epic I spawned in London, um, I had to travel for pretty much every single other epic I went to. There
Hmm.
actually no, on the last day, I think one other local hunter had an epic spawn, really close to where I work, which was convenient.
Yeah.
But I had already gotten everything I needed. Um, I got an epic. I got the first epic that was spawned in Toronto, which was like just over a 2-hour drive. But
Yeah.
the logic I used there was once someone told the community what was needed for the ghost blueprint, like what you need to sacrifice. I didn't want to take the chance of no other epic cauldrons spawning within a reasonable distance of me. So it's like I know I have what I need. I drove there. I'm like, if I can get the skeleton blueprint out of it, which is the normal one that you don't need the secret recipe for, that's awesome. But I'm not taking the chance of not getting the ghost.
Okay, so a
So
couple questions here.
yep,
Um, so when you hit an epic cauldron, because I didn't, there's a chance at the skeleton blueprint.
yeah. So in
Okay.
terms of, as far as I know, based on what happened last year, and I think IW confirmed,
Hmm.
it's for the skeleton or for so far for every normal epic blueprint during Halloween events, it's a coin flip. You put your
Okay,
yellow
50
key into
50.
an
Yeah.
epic cauldron, and either you get it or you don't.
Okay, and so for the ghost blueprint, was that guaranteed afterwards?
So the ghost blueprint you only even got the option to do the sacrifice if you had everything that was required for it.
Okay.
I
Okay.
don't think it even
Interesting.
showed
Wow.
up if you didn't have them.
Because that
And what
wasn't the case on the last Halloween event. Because once you hit an epic, it would stay there, and then you'd click it, and then it'd be like grayed out for the ones you didn't have, for the
Oh,
cats you didn't
okay.
have.
That may have been the case.
Okay.
I apologize for how arrogant this may sound, but both times I've had what I needed.
Yeah,
So
it
I
must be
had the
nice.
cats, and then
Yeah.
I had what I mean. I guess we'll go through right now. To get the ghost blueprint from an
Yep.
epic cauldron, you needed to sacrifice, as in like put into the cauldron, and then it would not be in your inventory anymore.
Okay.
A blue cubie, which they cannot be printed. It's the one you start with.
Yeah, I have 12 of them.
Okay, Alriad, calm down.
He's got more than that. They're worth a pretty penny now, actually.
Apparently. So you had to sacrifice a blue, which most players only have the one. You had to sacrifice one of every single other color. So a green, a yellow, a red, a purple, and a white, which for some players was fairly easy if they're from a white tier country. Otherwise, you'd have to get it off the auction house. I know before they were needed for the sacrifice, I think they were going for as low as
100.
like 100, maybe just under.
And then
But I think they spiked back to like 350 or so. So I mean, good on them. I mean, they're making bank over there for their keys.
Yep.
So that's 6 of them, and then you also had to sacrifice an air QB, which was like the air elemental from last year or the first anniversary event, as well as both of the QB pilots, so George and Laura.
Okay.
One of each.
That's the epics, right?
The epics from the randomizer that came from this year's anniversary event.
Wow. That's a big ask.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah.
And apparently, according to the stats that we got, 78 people were able to do it.
That's right. That's so it's an exclusive. It's a pretty exclusive blueprint.
Yeah, I've sort of started referring to it as like the secret epic, because like there's the normal one that, again, for this year it was the skeleton. You've got a 50-50 shot. That's just like the epic for the event. And then there's the secret epic that until someone finds out what the exact recipe is and publishes it, we don't necessarily know what it is.
That's right.
So I'm glad it was put out there as soon as it was, because then I didn't have to I got lucky and I had everything, but I also didn't have to think about it. I didn't have to like try and think about
coordinate the auction house.
Yeah, it's like, there's an epic cauldron an hour and a half away from me. Do I go to it just to find out what I need? Because that seems like a bigger risk than I'm willing to take. It's different when I know I have everything.
Right. It's a good opportunity to shout out Con Man, right? Who
was he the one to first post it?
Dude, he crushed this event, right? He got the first skeleton print, first ghost print. He did really well on this event. And I believe he posted it for the one time I literally poked into the Discord. I was like, oh, what's this? I think he posted it as well. So good shout out to him for just in general crushing the event. But so I know you said you did one group event with your local Discord. Did you do any other group hunts?
Yeah, so I sort of I was all over the Discord servers. I set one up for myself.
I knew the answer
locally.
to that, but
of course, because I mean, your local was one of them. So Friday night I was out with my local hunters. I think there were 8 or 9 of us. Eight players. I think one person had their significant other with them that wasn't playing.
Also sacrilege when it comes to Coin Hunt World. Get your partner.
It's Apple, man. It's Apple.
Oh,
it's the iPhone issue.
True. Yep.
So first Friday night was local in London. Saturday evening I was in your local area. Met up with Marlov and a couple other local hunters. I think there were just the 4 of us, or 4 or 5.
Was Jay Hands there?
Yes.
Okay.
Was it? Hold on. Yeah, there were 5 of us because Jay Hands was there. As was Encrypted. And
nice. Was there. Okay.
I think it's pronounced Genlia.
Oh yeah. Right on.
So yeah, there were 5 of us. I think we got 2 rares, 1 epic, 2 commons to spawn.
Damn.
I don't remember exactly. At that point I had gotten my ghost and my skeleton. So I was like,
you were happy.
I wasn't nearly as invested in it. I was just there to get resources at that point.
Right.
And then finally, so Friday was local, Saturday was Hamilton, and then Sunday I went to the Toronto meetup where there were another 8 of us, where I spawned my second epic, and that felt pretty good. But it was also nice to finally meet Smoosh.
Oh, right on.
I had never met or really talked to him. And that was really cool to just sort of walk around, meet some other local Torontonians. And yeah, it was really cool.
That's awesome. So if you could put it into perspective, and compare it to last year, was it as good as last year's event? Because I will say that there were a few notable changes when it comes to last year and this year, right? You have the 3-3-3 mechanic. So
Yeah.
that could have helped a little bit when it comes to like at least resources. And then, another notable change was the monthly trivia, but obviously that doesn't really play a huge factor, but just like game mechanics, in general, very similar, better, slightly worse. What are your
That's a
thoughts there?
tough comparison.
That is. That is.
Um, in terms of like what I saw as a player, last year I saw 2 epic cauldrons.
Right.
One that I don't think I had the key ready, and I just like I didn't have the cats at that point. I had to
Right.
still buy one. Not Missy. I got lucky that I
Oof.
printed Missy myself.
Yeah.
But I didn't have the cats, so I didn't bother going to it. And then the second one was where I got the black cat from. I had to drive all the way to Burlington for it. Um, so like in
Mhm.
terms of what I saw, I mean, this time I'm pretty sure I saw a total of 7 epics
Wow.
across southwestern Ontario throughout like
Mhm.
the meetups and just going hard enough to get the blueprints.
Right.
Um, game mechanics, it's tough. Like 333 during events is to a
Awesome.
tiny extent more beneficial.
For sure.
Like it's
I'll agree on the fact that it definitely is more beneficial when it comes to, but it hurts. It hurts a little more.
yeah, exactly. For anyone who's like
Yeah.
more invested in the crypto side of things, it
Hmm.
definitely isn't as appealing just in a
Hmm.
general.
Hmm.
Um, resources though, like you had mentioned there that you didn't necessarily think the trivia had as much an impact, but I would argue it did because some of the resources only came from green vaults. And if you're on a month where you're not
Ah,
like you don't have good categories,
yeah.
then getting the stuff that you need from green vaults can get a lot more difficult.
Interesting. Very interesting. So all in all, what do you think? Better this year, or they keep getting better every year, or do they need
I
to
would call it
revert?
better only because
Okay.
I was able to coordinate with other people and
It was
actually
better for
do
you.
meetups.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Yeah. Also, just a quick side piece here: the Halloween trivia. Did you select any of that? Because that one was a hot button for me because it was awesome. At least for Green Vault, or sorry, Blue Vault trivia. It was really cool because they had a lot of pictures. It was different from last year's, and I thought it was just well done. One of
Yeah.
the more It's one of the only event trivias that is like super easy and fun for me.
That's what I was going to
Right?
say is
Yeah.
like in terms of event trivia, I felt like I had more of a handle on that.
Yeah.
Maybe because some of it was here last year, whether or
Mhm.
not it had the picture or anything, but like some of the trivia I had
Right.
seen a little bit of before.
Mhm.
But like in comparison to let's say Hawaii, it's like that I'm more so learning the Hawaii stuff as opposed to reacting to it in
Right.
terms of the Halloween stuff
Right.
that I sort of like when I see a vampire on screen, like I know what I'm looking for in terms of
Yeah.
an answer.
Yeah.
So I think the addition of the pictures and everything, I think the trivia category was well done.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
For my limited time playing. So here's putting on my negativity hat quickly,
Oh
super
boy.
quickly. This was my first event period in this game since I've started playing, actually, except for my first one where I wasn't active on the Discord. So
Like you just
just
didn't open it at all, not even a
didn't
lurker.
open at all. I wanted to play and I just wanted to, and I'm, dude, you know me. I've
Yep.
played a couple events before. It's not like this is my first rodeo. So as a test, I'm gonna ask you this question, and we
Okay.
touched on it previously, right?
Yep.
Did you know how, very like 100% certain, were you 100% certain on how to spawn a rare or epic cauldron?
No. It was based on speculation through the Discord.
Okay, so if you're not in the Discord, I
You're
had
screwed, boy.
dude, I had zero clue. I had zero clue. So I was under the impression that it was slightly the same, but it could have changed from last year. So I was changing up all the QBs. I was doing all the rituals. I was spinning at the vaults. Like I was,
Well,
I was
let
doing,
me take it a step further. Let's say
yeah,
you hadn't played last year.
yeah. It was ridiculous. So my negativity hat here is I had no clue what I was doing. It would have been I mean, how were you supposed to? I didn't spawn a rare cauldron. I spawned like 10 common, and I wasn't playing super hard,
Yep.
but it wasn't like I I didn't print the zombie. I mean, I did, and I put it on, and I was wearing it, and I was still spawning commons. So I put on my rares from last year, and I was still spawning commons, and I couldn't get a handle on it. And at the point where I got fed up with it, it was too late to even check the Discord. So I
Yeah,
think
it's definitely something that, I mean, others have
needs to be
pointed
addressed.
out.
That needs
The
to be addressed.
way that communication takes place. I understand that the devs have sort of taken a stance of, hey, there's Medium, there's Twitter, there's Discord. Like, check these things out. We're posting everything. But if you are a player who was just told about this by a friend, and that friend did not introduce you to those resources, unless you are
Yeah.
like instantly hooked and obsessed with the game and you seek
Mhm.
them out, you're not going to know. And like, for instance, what do you call it, the little envelope that shows up as an
Yeah.
in-game notification that says,
Mhm.
oh, the strength of the zombie army is getting bigger, that will
Meant
not make
nothing
any
to me.
sense. Yeah, it won't
It
make
meant
any
nothing.
sense.
Yeah, I didn't even know what it was. And for some events that changes, right? That means resources are getting better, or it means for Halloween it can mean something different, like common, and it did, right?
Yep.
Cauldrons now spawned or lasted longer. I don't even know. Right? I don't even know.
Yeah, I won't get into the weeds of what the changes were this year, because I don't remember all of them
Right.
exactly.
Yeah.
But in terms of the quick fix in my mind is, all you need is something either in the settings menu or somewhere on
The
the
quest
screen,
chain. Yeah. Little
somewhere
eye
that sends
icon.
you as like a news feed about
Yeah.
the game to either the Discord, the Medium, the Twitter, something that you as developers want to prioritize. And you've shown you can do this. If you go right
Yeah.
now in your game and you go to the settings menu,
Yeah.
there is a thing called rules that brings you to a web page that has the rules for the game.
Rules.
So you've
Yes.
shown you can do this.
Yeah.
All you need is in
I
one of
love
the
it.
menus somewhere in the game
That would have been
is
great for the Halloween
news.
information.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even if you want to let us figure it out for a bit, that's fine too. But like, I think it needs to be addressed. And and so you were talking about, and I did fall into the Discord for a quick second, and I saw that there was a problem. I want to say there was a problem with the skeleton resources that they had to
Oh
change.
yeah,
Was that
so the resources required for both the skeleton and the ghost blueprints were way too high. Like, I'm pretty sure when it started, one of them required 3,000 bones.
3,000?
Yeah, it was either 3,000 bones or 3,000 ectoplasm or something, but I think it was Gia or Jaya. I'm sorry, I pronounced her name wrong. Who pointed out to Illusion Weaver, and he instantly was like, "Hey, can I have some top players tell me where you are for resources?" And I got in there immediately,
Mhm.
gave him everything. Like, I listed all my stuff, and he's like, "Oh." Not because of what I said, but because of
Right.
like a few of us posted where we were, and he's like, "Oh, this is impossible."
and
So
and and so
yeah,
and here's where I was on the event. I had no idea there were any changes. So you're talking about the bones coming out of blue vaults.
yeah, that was very. I'm pretty sure that was fixed within the first couple hours.
Okay, but regardless, there was no
But you didn't notice, right?
there
You
was no
you don't know.
envelope saying, "Hey, you're not going to get any more bones coming out." Like so coming from that perspective, and I've never been able to do that, right? I've never been able to fully remove myself from the Discord for an event because as a longtime player, I know that it's pretty necessary. But just taking a break from the Discord, I just was absolutely clueless. I think that needs to be fixed. I don't know how they're going to do it, but I mean the communication is completely lacking. I was completely lost. I think it hindered me a little bit. I would have loved to spawn even one rare cauldron to see what the resources you got from it. Um, you know, even an
Yeah,
epic would have been really nice to get a shot at. But and I was prepared this year with some yellow keys, but you know, it's just how the game is. So negativity.
There goes
Sorry.
the microphone.
Yeah. Am I back here? Okay.
Yep.
So taking the negativity hat back off. Successful Halloween event. I'm glad you participated and got all the stuff. So now you have both secret blueprints.
Secret epics.
Wow, look at you.
Yeah, Mr.
How's that
Fancy
feel?
over here.
How's that feel? Having both.
I mean, it feels good. I don't necessarily want to make a big deal about it or anything. But I mean, it is nice to have. I haven't even printed the ghost yet.
Okay. And is it hard to print?
1,000 bones, 1,000 ectoplasm, 1,000 flesh. Hold on, I can figure that out pretty quickly.
So
here.
I'd say yes. That
Yeah,
seems
it's pretty
a little
hard.
bit difficult. Yeah.
Considering the highest amount of ectoplasm that one player got during the event was like just over 3,000, and you
Right.
needed 1,000 for the skeleton as well.
Right.
It's definitely that's the top. If one player is getting just over 3,000, there aren't too many that got that high.
Right. Okay. So that crosses the Halloween event off my little checklist here. I will say that in the previous podcast that we did on, when was it? December of 2021, we were speculating a little bit on the Christmas event.
Literally the only thing I remember about the recording was speculating what was in the big tickler box.
Right, yeah. And by the way, that was a big letdown.
Paint for everyone.
Yes. So I'm actually really looking forward to the Christmas event this year. Because we were talking before the show about some a little high level strategy and saving resources, and I did save a bunch of resources from Halloween last year. I didn't get a chance to like really take advantage of that, but this year I also have all of the Christmas stuff. I even have a couple of trees waiting.
Nice.
So that mechanic's gonna be a lot of fun, and I know that our area, including you, we really killed it last year for Christmas. Same with Halloween, but so I'm looking forward to it. What do you think about? We don't need to speculate on it. I just want to overall thoughts on how Christmas is going to go, because they're also not doing any Chinese New Year event. So this one is the next one before anything big is happening. I'm not expecting crazy changes. I'm expecting a decent event. So
I think it's going to be almost identical to last year. I think my prediction for how the Christmas event is going to go is the devs have something in mind that they haven't 100% taken into account what sort of balance there's going to be for players.
That's a safe guess there.
I know. For players that played last year versus players who like haven't seen any Christmas stuff yet.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, if let's say 5 players in a local neighborhood have stocked up on Christmas trees, they're probably going to have them set out day one and like have a mess of resources that are just like they're good to go for the entire event as of like 2 resets.
That's right.
And then there's going to be neighborhoods of players, like let's say someone it doesn't matter where. Let's say someone who was living in a big city moved to a smaller city that had no players.
Get wrecked.
They sold their one Christmas blueprint or their tree blueprint.
Mm-hmm.
And then they got like 3 or 4 of their friends in their new neighborhood to start playing, but they're going to have, sure, they may have a great location for where trees could go, but they're not going to have any of the trees, and it's going to take a lot longer to get going. Yeah. So, right. I mean, that's obviously going to happen no matter what, but I'm wondering if the drop rates are going to play into that at all, or if that's been taken into consideration.
Interesting. Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to just what they have in store, because this is going to be my second event, right, where I have all the resources for everything. I know you've ogled at my eggnog collection before while we were doing an IRL hunt.
I was very jealous. Yes,
I got some resources stacked up, and I will say that I've been taking advantage of the Rudolph market and the Santa market right now. Maybe if you're listening, those are good money makers. Let's just say that.
Can you you should send me a DM before this is gonna get posted so I can get some stuff on the auction house before this goes up.
Will do. I'm planning on Sunday. But if I don't get to it, it might be Monday. So,
Okay.
But I will shoot you a message before it goes live.
Awesome.
Yeah, a little insider trading here, but yeah, those are I gotta let the noobs, I gotta let my noob brethren know that those are good money makers. Okay, so I will moving on to one of the main reasons why it got me back into the game is the adventure pass. So just without hearing any of my thoughts on it, I want to hear your thoughts. What do you I want to hear your first initial thoughts. So like right when it came out, and I want to know regarding the rewards and regarding the daily challenges. So what did you think about the rewards right when the pardon me, right when the adventure pass came out?
So I got it right away.
You purchased it, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll make sure that's on the table so like we're on the same page in terms of like what I was dealing with.
Yep.
Day one, I was super excited about it. I was slightly concerned coming out of the Halloween event going right into this that there were going to be more issues than there were.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that the ability for, I don't think I heard nearly as many complaints about people that were like looking to get crystal keys. I feel like there weren't many complaints around the process to get the keys. It felt like when I did it, it was super smooth, like flawless. And I'm sure there were a couple issues, but like in terms of rolling other things out, this felt fairly well done.
Yeah, agreed.
In terms of the daily challenges, day one, I was sort of just wait and see. Like I wasn't going to judge it based on seeing 3 challenges. And I know after 2 or 3 or 4 days, people were starting to get in the Discord. It's like, hey, I can't do any of these. Like, what's going on? Like, I thought I was paying for more content. What's going on? And I mean, I completely agree with IW coming in and saying, hey guys, can we not like, I appreciate feedback, but can we not judge this based on 3 days? Can we wait until like the end of the month and then give like more feedback? So I do understand some people's position on like not being able to do all 3 every day. Because I mean, when you put forge a red key 3 times in less than 2 weeks, it's sort of really limiting on who can do it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's got to be the second easiest one for the epics though, right?
What would you say the easiest is?
Oh, well, the easiest one is the one that everyone can, like, well, maybe not everyone can do, but it's the 8 walking quests, right? Completing the 8 walking quests is one that you can physically get out there and make yourself do. But like all the other ones is they rely on if you have the stuff to do it, right?
Yeah. And I mean, the same argument could be made for the middle one. Because I mean, we've seen printed Doge QB a couple times now. And I mean, how many people actually have that blueprint at this point?
I didn't do that one.
Yeah, I don't have a blueprint, so.
Yeah.
So in terms of daily challenges, like I like the format that they have. I like the idea that IW's sort of thrown out there where there might be 6 in the future, and I would love to see 6 possible, like 6 on the board, and then you can only complete 3, and then you're locked out of the other ones.
That makes much more sense.
But the point values are higher the harder it is, so that like if you choose to do the higher point value ones, then you're rewarded for doing them.
I like that.
That's how I see that.
So for the daily challenges, are there only the 4 sets? So the print a QB, equip a QB, walking quests, and forge a key. That's all there is right now?
I believe so. I don't think we've seen anything contrary to that, but I saw that, and sort of for the first week, it was determined that that's what's in their bank.
Right.
I think for the first month, them putting out a Medium article that was like very, very focused on, hey guys, this is beta. You read a little further, but this is also in beta. Like they made it super clear. And because they did make it as clear as they did, I think what they've set up, and so far that there's a couple visual bugs, like in terms of when you open it up, if you've been playing for a while, sometimes the point value will zero out.
Yeah.
And if you
I've
restart
seen
the game,
that.
it fixes it. It's not
Yeah.
that big a deal. It's a minor bug.
Mhm.
What they have, I think, is a really good base to build off of, and I'm
Definitely.
excited to see where it
Yeah.
goes.
So, would you agree that overall, here, um, at least this month, the adventure pass, getting to like level 30, completing all of this stuff it's easy. It's like super easy.
Definitely depends where you are.
Okay.
For my
Okay.
personal
That's right.
situation,
Mhm.
yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. I will have no problem finishing it.
Mhm.
I completed tier 14 earlier today.
Okay.
And again, like I basically didn't play for 4 days
Right.
earlier this week.
Right. Right.
So if I had done vaults, if I had committed time to it, I would
Mhm.
probably be, I don't know, um, 17, 18.
Right. And I will
So
say that buying the pass and getting the 4 adventure points per vault is a huge, like, that's how you make it easy. And that
yeah.
makes it super easy. And
Oh,
I
it's
do
there's
want to,
definitely a difference there.
dude, I have another public apology. This is crazy,
Oh
but
boy.
they've built up, but it's to
What a
Manel.
comeback episode, Trent.
Dude, it's crazy, but it's to Manel because a long time ago we got just into a discussion about how they would charge for the
Yep.
actual adventure pass, and I was under the impression that it would have been like a sign in, but no, they're taking it straight from the device, and Manel said that, and he said it pretty clearly, and I was just on the fence about it. So damn, another apology. I'm not apologizing to nobody anymore.
Hey, two birds, one stone. You mentioned
There you
Manel.
go.
We don't have to talk about him anymore.
There you go. There you go, man. You got your little spotlight. But yeah, so I'm finding it pretty easy. But here's another thing. Actually, a positive cap back on.
Okay.
Yeah. So let me ask you before I answer my own question: is
Sure.
what's one thing that you really like about the Adventure Pass? Like your top thing?
Like just anything.
Yeah, anything. Could be
I
broad.
like the way it's visually set up. I
Okay.
think it's when you actually go into the adventure road, like it is very, other than the blank spots beside the mystery boxes,
Yeah,
that
they could
I
add
feel
another
like
mystery
they,
box there.
they haven't commented on that I've seen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it's very clear where, like, at what level you're getting things. The blue bar
Hmm.
is very obvious how far you've made it. I think they're like, it's not like it can't get better, but I think again, the base that they've created,
Yeah.
it it's very intuitive.
Dude, I have that written down. For me, the whole process is very intuitive.
Yep.
And that's the number one thing. Coming from the Halloween event, which was like
Just not intuitive.
not intuitive at all. And then they have this great update that's extremely intuitive. I love it. Like there's no way to like fuck it up or get it wrong. It's like, okay, I complete 300, I do 300, each vault gets me 4 or 2 if you don't have it, and then these 3 things give me 100, and
Yep.
then that's it. And then you progress, you have a nice bar, you even have the nice point counter. Extremely intuitive. I love that about it. But I mean, it must have contrasted right from the Halloween event because it was so unintuitive. I was like, wow, this is awesome.
Yeah, recency bias, right?
Yeah, exactly, right. um okay. Oh, did I lose myself here? Okay, yeah, no. So, also a lot of people actually got to test this out before it actually came to release. I don't know if you knew about that. I assumed you
Nope.
no. Oh,
I,
okay.
I feel like I don't have any sort of in with the developers. I haven't
Well,
been asked or
yeah.
talked to about anything.
So I wasn't asked or talked to about it, but I was just dropped into the group. I feel like they
What?
kind of assumed. Uh, okay, so it was a Discord channel, and it was just a bunch of people testing it out.
I feel like
Couple of
beans are being spilled here right now. Like,
really,
were you in this channel the whole time?
yeah, totally in there. Let me check if it's still there. It's not there. I don't think it's still there. It was like at the very bottom in the off topic, or yeah, it might have been an off. So the off topic category, there's off topic bot commands, and then there was like 2 more, and
Two more. What?
yeah,
I
one of
know
them
nothing about this.
okay, so well, one of them was called Sailing the Seas, I think, and it was a lot of players I recognized, who were testing out the adventure pass like earlier, like probably 2 weeks earlier than released. So
Okay.
it wasn't like super crazy, but and they were giving feedback, really good feedback. And I think that because I was in there a little bit, I saw, pardon me, I saw what was happening,
Uh-huh.
and I loved it. And I knew that it was like gonna work out really well. But the fact that they dropped that for like players who knew what the fuck they were talking about to give them feedback, it was such a smart idea, and I feel like they should do that going forward, if it's possible.
Because I know there was a group that they had testing of the walking in a similar vein
Yeah,
where like they were getting a bunch of feedback.
yeah,
I don't know if they've done it with any other specific things, but I wouldn't honestly, if the people in the that had tested it walking hadn't said something at some point,
yeah.
I wouldn't have even known about that.
Well, there you go. You're getting left out, man.
Yep, apparently.
What? You're not important enough, dude? Haven't you seen his highlights?
I
All
don't
the
know.
content this guy produces.
I feel
What
like
does he have to do to get in these channels?
I wrote those blog posts before Hunter's Lodge 5, and it's just like, oh shoot, were these interpreted as a hit piece? It's like, I'm just trying to give people information.
You're the new Zach.
Oh boy.
Just playing. Yeah. So I think that was one of the good things. So, and the very intuitive process as well.
Yeah.
So to counter that, the question of what you liked the most, what's one of the things that you dislike about the adventure pass? And this can be another broad thing. This can be a very my personal example is super nitpicky. So
Okay.
go ahead.
I mean, I think I may have said this in the Adventure Road, like the channel on Discord, but
Mhm.
I just think there needs to be something after level 30
Oh, right. Yeah.
that is
You were saying that
not.
on the.
Oh, did I talk about this on the other pod? Oh, well,
Slightly.
either way, I'm going to
Yeah.
reiterate it.
Yeah, no worries.
I think there needs to be something after level 30 that is both good enough to make people continue wanting points,
Mhm.
but not so good to be seen as a new finish line.
Right.
Because if people see stuff past the, I guess the Zodiac QB level,
Mhm.
like level 30, if people see stuff past that is better than everything you've already been getting,
Yeah,
they're going to see that as a new finish line. And if they can't attain it, they're going to complain that it's too hard.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's just like, I think I've used the example in the past, if like level 31 was another like 1,000 blue paint for the normal side, and then an additional 1,000 paint for the paid, and you just sort of roll through the 5 different paint colors, and then I don't know, like another batch of resin after that.
Common resources. And I liked the point that you said also on the podcast about it scaling. So like after 30, it's not just 300 anymore, right? It becomes a lot harder to obtain.
Yeah, I think it may have been Rubik's or Beats that mentioned that.
It might have
But
been.
yeah, also a good idea. I think it should
because
scale.
that makes a clear definition between the finish line and then you're putting
stretch
in
goals.
This extra work for 1,000 paint. Here you go. You know, right. So agreed. Here's mine. And this is super nitpicky. This is hilarious. So I did it today. So today the print a QB challenge was the Veriblock, which
yes.
I got that.
Oh, that I think I see where you're going with this.
So, do you? Okay.
Yeah.
So, I dislike that you actually have to pick up the QB from the print shop for it to actually complete the printing. So that's unnecessary. And
other people have definitely expressed that concern as well.
Okay, because that one really makes you have to go back. Like I'm going past the print shop and then continuing on. I'm not like going back to the print shop. So I would love it if, I mean, I guess it doesn't matter if you just do it or like when it finishes printing. But if you didn't have to pick it up from the print shop, that would be awesome.
Yeah, I'd love to see it where it triggers either when it finishes printing, or you can also get it to trigger picking it up. So if you did happen to have one printed previously, like a few days earlier, and you go back and pick it up, if there were 2 separate trigger points, I think that would be nice.
That would be cool.
Just for those individuals who go and print a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
But I definitely agree. Like it should be either like there should be leniency on it being one or the other. because there are certain people who only have one print shop within, like, let's say an hour of where they live.
And
it,
regardless, you can only print one at a time, so you're gonna,
yeah,
you know what I mean? So it doesn't really do anything game mechanic wise or to hinder you. So
yeah,
I just feel like that would be a little bit of a quality life update. Again, nitpicky. I love it. I love that the adventure pass. I'm really enjoying it. And I'm excited. And I think you mentioned this on the last podcast. I'm excited to see where they're going to go with it next month. You know, because they have so much like room for growth and
yeah.
opportunity there. So.
And people have definitely been giving feedback in terms of like link things to certain trivia categories. And I really like the idea of that.
Yeah, that's cool too. Yeah.
Because if in the past there was talk of like, what are ways that we can effectively force people to pick the categories they don't like, and this is
Right.
a perfect way
Yeah.
to make people do, like, if you're not into art,
Books.
and
Yeah.
books is the other one that I was going to
Yeah.
go to. If you're not into art or books, and one of the daily tasks is answer 5 books questions.
There you go.
Doesn't matter if you get good, great, or perfect, just answer 5 books questions correctly.
Correctly. Oh, okay. You threw that in there at the end. I was like, I can
Yeah,
answer
no,
5.
you can't just, you could just burn through keys and just pick the category then.
That's right.
I think you
Yeah.
do have to solve vault.
Yeah. Okay. So to finish off this adventure pass segment, what would you? So obviously we're not going to see this month, but maybe next month. What would you want to see added to the rewards? So I think you touched lightly on the CHC thing that it
What did
wasn't
I
like.
say?
I don't think it was you. I think as
Oh, okay.
as a group, you guys kind of maybe I was misinterpreting, but I felt like you guys were under the impression that it wasn't like completely worth it at 1995, right? Is
Oh,
that true?
yeah.
Okay.
And I think
So
a few people have just or expressed this publicly in
mhm,
terms of what they have created for this first month of
mhm,
publishing it. I don't think if it stayed exactly like this, it would be worth it to be 1995 US every
right,
month.
right.
I think, again, and I know I'm beating a dead horse here, but what they've built is a great thing to build off of.
Yeah.
If they don't build, I don't think it's
Yeah.
worth it.
Yeah, agreed. So what would you like to see added to not make it worth it, but like what are something that you would like to see added to either the whole thing as a whole, but I was mostly specifically wondering about like the rewards. What kind of rewards would you want to see in there?
So this also could have replaced what I said earlier in terms of what I'd like to see added in terms of like further rewards, like past level 30. I
Mhm.
would love it if the paid side got an option between two things. So like the free side has their designated thing, and then the paid side is, for instance, they offer you something, or you can double what's on the left side instead.
Mm,
Because I mean,
okay.
I don't know if I can come up with an example from what's on this month.
Well,
Um,
a good one would be the cinnamon sticks and the eggnog. I
or
feel
like
like.
the toads and the bat wings. Like I would much
Right.
rather have 30 toads
Yeah.
than 15 toads and 20 bat wings.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So like a little more variety there for the people who pay.
Yeah.
And then if you don't pay and you're just chugging through it, then you just get
I
what you
mean,
get.
if you're not paying, like, you shouldn't really be as concerned with what's
Right.
on the
Yeah,
other
of
side
course.
unless you're thinking about paying in the future.
Right.
Then, I mean, if you
And
have feedback, then that's
that
great.
goes great with the game of choices theme that they got going on.
Yes, very
Right.
much
Like
so.
almost yeah,
He
almost
said the
perfectly.
word. He said the word.
Exactly. Here's my hot take here. I want to see Crystal Keys on there.
Oh,
As
yeah.
a
I don't
right,
know why I didn't go straight to that.
that one's got to be
Agree.
on there because there's got to be a way to bring down the price, or like if you want to do that thing where you go over and above where you could earn the next pass for free even,
Like at level
that
40 or 50 or something.
whatever it is, or even get 25% of the keys needed, or whatever it is. I don't know. I just want to see crystal keys added there. I think there'd be other ways to get crystal keys is probably a benefit. So
Absolutely.
yeah, we're in agree. Okay, good. All right, that's
Could you
that
imagine
ends.
if I fought you on that?
You're like, nah, dude, no crystal keys. Everybody needs to pay. So probably something that's most near and dear to my heart is Coin Hunt Fest. We got to talk a little bit about it.
I think this is going to be more you talking about how pumped you are than me, but I will pipe in if you need me to.
Okay. I'm here. Let me ask you first. Are you going?
I am still undecided.
You need to tell me now.
I'm leaning towards yes, but I am not willing to commit 100%. And I've given that answer to many people so far.
Okay. I would love to see you there, obviously.
To be clear, for anyone who doesn't already know, Trent has already bought the VIP pass.
That's right.
I'm a the current 10, right?
9? I want to say 9.
Okay, maybe 9. But like, as of right now, there were only 10 for sale.
Yeah.
And he was one of the few who bought one.
That's right. And I've been talking about this on the, like, if you're a long-time listener, I've been talking about this for probably a year or so. And I thought it was hilarious because when I bought the VIP and then I posted it in the chat, people were like, whoa, what? He did it? And then I think it was K-Hag. He's like, I'm shocked he did it, but also not shocked because he's been saying he was going to do it for years.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So that's awesome. So if you were to go, is the VIP pass on your mind, or is it just like a GA kind of thing, and just going for the atmosphere?
If I'm able, something big would have to happen in the next couple months. I don't know my exact key stack right now, but I'm fairly certain my total is under 5,000.
Okay, but I'm fairly certain you have enough stuff to get to over a purple.
The way the market is in the auction house right now,
pretty bad, isn't it? It's pretty low.
Yeah, I would have to put in some work.
Yeah, you'd have to liquidate.
My concern would be if I did that and I got to the purple, what would I do afterwards? Because my stack would be decimated.
Talk about my stack right now. So
that's one of the questions I actually have. What I was going to ask you is, are you willing to discuss what you have left?
I have. Okay, I'm actually not doing too bad, but I'm also without. Okay, so I might as well. I've always been very public with my plans and what I'm doing, so I might as well tell you. My stack right now is actually kind of decent. I'm a little bit under a red key. So
total.
Total.
Okay.
So after using a purple, that's actually pretty decent for me. But also the past 2, 3, 4 weeks, I've been buying many resources for all of the epics I have saved up. So I have about I have about 6. So I need the wombat, I need the pilot.
Sorry, when you say need, you need the resources for
resources for okay. Or I don't need them all for these, but these are the ones I have blueprints available.
Gotcha.
Right? So wombat, pilot, epic, or dragon.
Wait, which dragon?
Yellow dragon.
Okay.
The pirate as well. So I've got 4, and then
that red paint is expensive.
Crazy. So that one I'm hoping I can just fall into. Because I don't have enough for that. But so I've been silently buying a lot of resources off of the auction house. So I've probably got myself up to past a red key, but then used 600 or 700 keys to buy some ish. And
gotcha.
So I'm not struggling, but I'm not nearly like when the adventure pass first came out, I was like, ooh, forge a red key, no problem. So I'm not like that anymore, for sure.
Yeah, but keeping in mind the fact that you did spend a purple, like you're in decent shape.
Yeah, I and also the fact that it's not. I feel like market's down. I feel like having 500 or 5 yellows is like you can buy pretty much what you want. Like.
For the most part, like unless you're looking for a rare blueprint, then
I'm not getting the New Year's Eve QB.
No, not even close.
I'm not getting that. So and also I have a plan to just make my Coin Hunt Fest trip a little bit easier on myself. I've got the VIP blueprint. I booked my tickets.
Oh
So
wow.
everything's ready to go. I think I paid $300 for my tickets, so
Round
wasn't
trip.
that bad. Yeah, round trip 340.
We'll talk after the pod about
What
potential of that, because like if
will do.
you know in terms of what you're doing for travel, I might ask questions, and if it's a very easy process for how you plan to get there and back, then I might be more likely to go.
No problem. That'd be great. So my plan is now, I've turned off my linking to Uphold, and I'm just gonna play casually up until then, and then use all that money. And casually for me is probably not casual to a casual player, but it's casual to you. So I'm gonna use all that money to basically sustain myself in Vegas,
Oh, nice.
and yeah, so I'm just pumped, man. I'm so excited. I've been talking about this for a while. You know, I better get into the things that are happening there, just to give you a little bit of a nudge to make you want to go a little bit, right? So the monument. So there's going to be a Las Vegas monument.
Yep.
So that right there already is, I'm hoping, a new epic, right?
Like
Speculation.
I honestly hadn't even thought that far into it.
That's right.
That's very distinctly possible.
That's right. So possibly there. I mean, it's good. That's just a little bit of a bonus, because you get so much FOMO when you see, like that whole group going to Hawaii and doing
Yep.
that. You're like, oh, like what does it take to actually travel the fucking world to play Coin Hunt World? And you get a little bit of taste of that going to Vegas. Exclusive panel and guests. Now, let me tell you something.
Hit me.
Another one of the reasons why I'm starting up the podcast again is because I'm trying to be one of these people. Content flowing again, all the good stuff. So maybe you'll see me up there. If not, that's okay too.
I mean,
really,
even if you don't get up there though, like just figure out how to bring a setup and interview people and while you're hunting.
I have a mobile setup. That's gonna happen.
There you go.
That's happening. The hunting with friends in the special, like a special Las Vegas. I mean, I'm no stranger to group hunts, neither are you, but people who we've interacted on the Discord for forever. Now we're finally gonna get to hunt with them, and man, the amount of stuff that we've learned from each other, like even just me, you, and Marlov and J Hands going out,
Yeah.
right? And then we learn our tips and tricks. But imagine hundreds of us top level players giving our tips and tricks. Like, that's invaluable. That's got to be invaluable knowledge.
Yeah.
Totally.
It'll be interesting to see. When you say hundreds, and I think to myself, how many people are actually making this work?
Okay.
I'm cautiously optimistic about how many people are both going to get the ticket, but also actually commit and actually go.
Right.
So there has already been issues with some people not knowing what they're buying.
True.
From
I've seen that. Yeah.
From the shop.
Yeah, that's true.
So I'm hopeful that the number of tickets they sell is how many people show up. That would be awesome. That would be good for the game. Like that's great news if it happens. I'm just somewhat skeptical of every single ticket holder actually going.
Agreed. And I think there's like a little bit of room for error on that. But I don't know the specific numbers of what's been sold yet. Do you?
I don't, only because there was apparently there was a second offering of general admission, and it was gone from the shop before I even got home. So I don't even know how many were there.
And I think I could be wrong, but I want to say 50 each.
I don't want to guess.
Okay, yeah, I don't know either, to be honest, and I'm saying hundreds optimistically. I didn't say thousands.
Yeah, no, I don't think. I think it would be too much if it were thousands.
It would be.
I feel
it could be low hundreds.
Yeah, what they want to do with it, I feel like is going to be more centered around a couple hundred.
Right. So you got the breakfast and brunches. Obviously, I'm a big fan of food, and as a VIP, I get to do the sit down with Cuckoo Puffs and Illusion Weaver, and basically ask them whatever I want. make that a really awkward brunch. And so there's also the competitive Vegas hunt, which I think top players would be interested in. Me, not so much, but definitely looking forward to seeing who comes out on top and,
Yeah.
being a part of that. And then
I
just
would
like
be interested to know if they plan on doing like whatever the 10 categories are for that month, if that will filter into the whatever this Vegas challenge is, or
yeah.
if they'll open it up to all the categories.
Ooh, that could be interesting for sure, because it could be a really whack set of 10 categories.
Yeah.
Like no crypto in there, I'd be hurting. No science, no general knowledge.
Yeah, I mean October was I freaking loved the categories in October, and then November came and it's like this is not as great.
See, I wasn't a fan in October only because I was taking a break, and what I was doing was I was hitting my local, like when I'm on the hiatus, I'm always hitting the yellow vault, because the yellow vault is $10 when it respawns and it's free basically. I mean, you go over there and you hit $10 and that's nice.
As long as
So,
you don't get the resource box.
which happened so many times, like ridiculous amount of times. I think I got one actual crypto box in like 5 resource boxes. So it's a
So you're
little bit
set on
cheesed.
stamps then, is what you're telling me.
Yeah, I'm okay on stamps.
Okay.
I'm okay, but also I saw that the adventure pass gives you 5.
8.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's pretty OP. So I'm stacking 10 just in case. Anyways. So yeah, that's Coin Hunt Fest. You need to get on board. That's all I'm saying. We'll talk about it after.
Yeah, we can talk about it more for
and
sure.
leading up to it, because I want to convince you to come. I think that
Okay.
would be awesome. Me and Marlov have already been in the DMs.
Are we gonna send like a delegation from Ontario?
We have to. We got to represent. Okay. You know what I mean? So, and we need the top guys there. So, that's, man, I'm pumped. That's one of the reasons I'm back basically, is because of Coin Hunt Fest. I've been pumped about this. I'm also really excited about the Adventure Quest or Adventure Pass, which is also another great update, and then the events they got going. So I think that they did a decent job in the past couple of months of like relighting the interest.
Well, yeah, I mean, it feels like throughout this conversation you've sort of talked about Christmas being the next event. Right. Is that the impression you're under?
Is that not it?
Because there's been talk about a FIFA event, and the FIFA World Cup, I believe, starts in 6 days. So
dude, I
don't know. This is completely speculation because nothing's been confirmed, but there's been talk about a FIFA event. And there's also whatever they said in the last Hunter's Lodge was I think they called it the December surprise.
Interesting.
And they've confirmed that
if they're on track,
if there's a FIFA thing going on, that is not the December surprise.
Okay.
So I don't know if it's going to be an event similar to Pat Morita where there's like a charity aspect involved.
That'd be cool.
But yeah, I wouldn't count on having a slow game until December 20th or whenever they decide to hit the Christmas event. I think there's going to be stuff going on between now and then.
That's very interesting. I would be excited for that. I plan on playing casually for up until Coin Hunt Fest. And that means what I won't make the mistake of doing is playing another event without looking at the Discord. I will be in the Discord from now on. I will be looking at it. So if people are messaging in there, I'm gonna be, lurking how I usually do. So
yeah, you'll have it on your second monitor while you're playing RuneScape.
Yeah. You guys, got me. Yeah. Yes, that'll be happening. I'll be looking at the Discord. So, before we wrap it up, wow, almost 2 hours.
Yeah, I told a couple people I'd drag this out as long as possible.
This is what I love, because I can't find Coin Hunt World podcasts this long. I feel like the blockchain gaming has a lock on the length of podcasts, right? So, we got to do the CHC, the little special of the CHC. So
yeah, hit me with questions.
So I don't have a lot, but I do have, actually, we're going to take a break right here. Perfect. Okay, we're back. CHC. I only have a couple of questions for you.
Okay.
But I would love some just expanded details. Anything you got, some plugs, whatever. Just do your thing on this. I just want to know a little bit about it because, like I said earlier, I didn't get the whole rundown on actually what it was from just episode 2. Maybe
Okay.
I need to listen to episode 1 to figure out what the whole ordeal is. But give me the premise, right? Just
I
want to make.
mean, it basically, like, this started from like, there was the Zach and Beats podcast, and Zach sort of has taken a step back from, I guess you could say, the amount of time that he's willing or able to commit to playing Coin Hunt and doing things associated with the game.
Mhm.
But Beats was still sort of very set on having a podcast, speaking to other players, talking about the game in general. So he reached out. I don't know if I think he put out a public call to sort of like, hey, who's interested in doing something like this?
Mhm.
And then he got a response from a few of us. So there's a group of 7 of us, sort of, I guess you could say, led by Beats, because he's in, so far he's the only one who's in every episode.
And the mastermind and the podcast host,
Yes.
he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you haven't seen Coin Hunt Crew, it's Beats Me by Dre, Kata, Free AO,
Yep.
who we generally refer to as Free,
Yep.
Harris,
Yep. Sorry.
Medrich, Rubix, and myself.
So some familiar names. I think everybody's been
Definitely.
on the blockchain gaming podcast there, except for Kata, but he was supposed to be on until I took a break.
Oh, so you're talking to
So-
him at the same time you're talking to me, trying to set stuff up for things that never ended up happening.
That's right. Yep. Exactly.
Well, I mean, if you get him on, I'm sure he can plug the other podcast again.
I'm sure we can set something up, but yes. So what's the premise here?
I mean, it's similar to sort of what you're doing, what Zach and Beats did, what Ladies of the Hunt do, like all the sort of the podcasts that have been created. I know yours is like, you've had other guests about other games, and like you talk about a bit of a broader spectrum of things sometimes. But I mean, similar to the other ones that have been created because of Coin Hunt World, we just sort of, we talk about current events. We go through, there's some segments that are sort of starting to get developed in terms of like talking about trivia.
Yeah.
I'm sure as we get more and more episodes up, we'll sort of each of the 7 of us will sort of have like a little thing that we do when we're on, or we try and incorporate into the conversation somehow, some way. But yeah, it's just sort of a group of 7 of us that want to fill the gap of, I mean, Zach and Beats not putting out content anymore.
Yep.
Yeah. Whether or not that's going to stay that way, it's sort of up in the air. But for the time being, Zach's taken a step back, so Beats wanted to create something new.
Yeah, that's awesome. So from what I've seen so far is just the one episode, episode 2 with you, Rubix, and Beats. And
yeah, the naming convention of the episodes is kind of interesting.
Yeah,
right now
I didn't. You got a you got a 1.5 in there somewhere. I'm not sure where that is. I guess I need to see 1 before I understand what 1.5 is, but 2 I got.
Yeah, no, the original name was like, they put out episode 1, and then we put out another episode, but not all of us had been on it yet.
Oh,
so
okay.
we didn't want to say like, oh yeah, this is episode 2. I wasn't part of the naming convention. I just sort of went along with it.
Well, you got so many minds like with ideas going, so I understand where there'd be a little bit of a.
So episode 1, episode 1.5, and then episode 2, and through those 3, all 7 of us are on there at some point or another.
Awesome. And so obviously Beats has got a lock on what he's doing when it comes to being a host, asking questions and shit like that. And we were talking about this earlier off air about how conversations are a skill, right?
Oh, yeah.
And to develop the skill of having a conversation is just like how you develop any other skill, right? It's a lot of practice.
For
and
sure.
So what does it feel like now, as going from being on podcasts to try to like being the driving factor of the conversation on a podcast?
I wouldn't
I
even
mean, sorry,
necessarily.
quickly. You also do a very good job at, even when I was on, or you were on my podcast last time, and this time we interchange questions. So, I mean, maybe not so much you, but as much as everybody else. Like, how are people like getting into the groove of starting to like do conversations? Because when I first started, it's not easy, is it?
No, and we're definitely sort of like there's a groove that we'll fall into.
Yeah.
We've sort of we had a couple conversations sort of before we started recording anything. Um, I know it was brought up a couple times that we're gonna try and do our best to do video calls, whether or not it goes on a YouTube channel every single time.
Mhm.
I suggested that we do video calls every single time because if there are episodes where there's like 5 or 6 of us talking at once, it's really hard if you can't see each other to be able
Yeah.
to read body language and like
Mhm.
not interrupt each other all the
That's
time.
part of the conversation, is the body language, not
Yeah.
so much the eye contact, because that's obviously not happening, but I can see what you're doing, and
Yeah.
I can understand that. Yeah, that's definitely a plus. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think episode 1.5, there were 5 people on and they did
Yeah.
a great job of not talking over each other. Um, but yeah, we're gonna there's a learning curve to it and it'll take a few weeks for us to get used to things.
Mhm.
And because there are so many of us, like you're probably not going to get the same set of people over and over.
Mhm.
I don't think we've necessarily committed to doing like one episode every single week. It's more of we're going to try and record basically as often as we can, as often
All
as a
right.
few of us are available, and you'll get episodes as quickly as, or yeah, as quickly as it is reasonable for someone in the group to edit and put them up.
So there's no set schedule, kind of like the blockchain gaming podcast now.
Currently, there is no set schedule. We
Okay.
may
Yeah.
fall into one, but we'll see what happens.
Okay. And to follow up on what you just said, because this is the itching question that I've had
Oh boy.
all day for you, is
Uh-huh.
who edits
Oh.
those videos? Because before you tell me who it is, that person is really good, and it makes me feel really lazy. So this one will have some decent editing, but nothing like what you guys have done, because that was it's pretty damn good. I got to admit. Who does that?
So I'm sure they're going to yell at me if I'm wrong, but to the best of my knowledge, I think the first one was edited by Harris,
Mm-hmm.
and 1.5 and 2 were both both edited by Kata.
Okay. Okay.
That is my understanding. I could go back and through our like chat logs and stuff and figure out exactly, but I don't want to delay us finishing up the conversation.
No worries. Yeah, that's it was pretty spectacular. I thought that a lot of work, you could tell a lot of work and thought process went into it. And already, I mean, it was only you, Rubik's, and Beats on the one that I saw, but the conversation flowed really nicely. I thought that you had very interesting points and topics. So you're shaping up to have something good on your hands, I think. And not to mention, you're going to learn what it's like to try to, I mean, you obviously already know what it's like pumping out content, but, and Beats probably does too, but all of that group is going to learn how much of a toll it can actually
Oh, for
take.
sure.
Yeah. And so
And
don't take it lightly. Yeah.
that's one of the reasons that we have like a big group. And
It's going to help.
I haven't experienced what you go through yet
Mhm.
because Beats is sort of at the helm. And
Yeah.
like again, he's been part of every episode. He's sort of leading the group forward. And I
Mhm.
think the goal is to have him as part of pretty much every episode,
Kind of like a
unless
host.
he.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure he'll experience that more readily and more apparently.
I'm sure he already has.
But yeah, I'm sure the rest of us will also get to that point
Yeah.
at some junction.
Well, yeah, I'm looking forward to. I'm gonna watch. It's on Spotify, right? I can get it
I
on Spotify?
believe all three of
Okay.
those episodes, 1, 1.5, and 2, are on Anchor, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you find your podcasts.
I watched it on YouTube, which I thought was awesome because I don't usually.
Mhm.
But I really liked how you had the three, and your facial expressions are funny, so I definitely had to watch. I really liked the part where you guys were talking about Coin Hunt Fest, and Beats was like, yeah, I'm farther away from Las Vegas than both of you, and you're like,
Yeah, I
wait
had
a
to think
second.
about that one. I don't think he is. I'm pretty sure I'm farther away than him.
He is farther away. I had to Google it.
Really?
Dude, I Googled it. He's actually technically 2 hours. So Reading, Pennsylvania is actually farther away from Las Vegas than Toronto. I typed in Toronto.
Wow.
So yeah,
Okay,
and
well then he
it's
made
2
a
hours.
solid point, and
It
I
was
should not
very
have
solid.
cocked my head in confusion.
Dude, I was so confused as well. As I was like, dude, do you not see his Canadian flag? I'm like, come on, you got to be farther. But no, actually, he is farther. Um, I just thought that was funny. It's one of those things that you only pick up on when you're watching the YouTube video. So
Yeah. I
yeah,
honestly I've only listened to them so far.
yeah,
I listen to them on my because I have a half-hour commute. So
yeah.
generally I'll listen to podcasts on the way to and from work.
Well, this one is gonna take you four of those four, two commutes there and back. This is
Awesome.
2 hours long.
I love not running out of content. So
Yes,
we're
I
good to
know.
go.
And I also heard Beats and Rubik's talk about how they're actually going to get to listen to some content for themselves, which is one of those problems I've always had when I was pumping out
Yup.
content. It was like uh, I can't listen to anything. So you're welcome to Rubik's and Beats for this one. But
I get the short end of the stick.
yeah, exactly. All right, Will. It's been a pleasure, man. I want to
Yeah.
thank you for coming on. Um, I had some sort of nice outro here that I'm now blanking on, but I think it revolved around, thanking you and piquing my interest again because even the CHC group did it. It got me, feeling the love when it comes to just the coin hunt world content creators. So
Awesome.
yeah, I just want to thank you for coming on and you know being knowledgeable and helping me through the transition here. So yeah, dude, this episode's all about you.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah, So
Glad to be a
um,
part of it.
yes, good. And maybe it's not the last time. And I'm definitely gonna see you in Vegas. So maybe we'll
We'll talk. We'll talk.
maybe we'll do something there too. So all right, that's gonna do it. That's it for me. All right, peace out.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.